Hey, everybody. Wendy Sellers here, the HR lady. Thanks for tuning in. JC, my co-host, is not able to make it today, so we're going to just jump right in and hope I don't mess this up. Today, I have an exciting guest here, Thad Price, CEO of ReadySetHire by Talroo from Austin, Texas. Hey, Thad.
Hey, Wendy, great to be here. Thank you so much for the invite.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm so excited to hear from you and your expertise in the recruiting and talent acquisition space. Contrary to popular belief, people are still looking for staff, right?
Absolutely, absolutely. And it's more important than ever to ensure we're engaging applicants and prospects faster and more than ever before, especially in today's environment. So, when you think of talent acquisition and you think of recruiting, it's a sales and marketing process. And through Ready Set Hire, that's what we're looking to provide to the market.
Yeah, it really is. I teach people how to recruit. I used to recruit and I dabble in it here and there, but it's just not my passion. So I leave it to the experts like you and the recruiters that I refer to. But I always say, listen, it's half HR, half sales. And so you need to train all your managers or whoever's on the hiring team all the way to the receptionist who's either answering the phone or greeting the candidate. You need to teach them, the sales hat. But then you also need to teach them, hey, by the way, these are illegal questions that you can't ask. So it's like sales, marketing, HR, legal. It's so much. And then on top of that, we're all, and by we, I mean all of us businesses, we're all trying to recruit the same exact person. And so if you're not, Johnny on the spot, you're going to lose them.
Absolutely. And so many small businesses, when you think about the art and science of recruiting, they don't, in many cases, know where to start. And through our product, Ready Set Hire, that's what we're looking to solve and allow folks to jumpstart their recruiting and hiring process through a simple platform that you can use to be able to ensure you're reaching the right candidates at the right time in the right place with the right presentation and the right job posting.
So, in your opinion, what's the what's the best tool that small businesses, regardless of their size, really, but small businesses that can use, of course, Ready, Set, Hire, but what's the best tool that they can use to say, I got to get these things off my plate so I can interview these candidates?
Yeah, well, I mean, I'm partial. I will probably say Ready Set Hire because we built the system to solve a lot of the pain points with talent acquisition and recruiting. And I think the big thing is you have to really get back to the basics and how you think about the entire recruiting funnel and the process in which you recruit. And so, if you think about it, many small businesses, when they say I need to hire someone, you immediately think, oh, I have to go through this process. I have to hire people. I have to
Yep.
schedule them. I have to interview them. I have to talk to people. I get ghosted. There's just this sigh that happens when you think you need to hire someone. And so many people don't, right? They just basically say, I'll just keep doing the job. But that's not what is going to grow your business. And that's why
Right.
you hire someone. You hire someone to grow your business. So, when you think about recruiting today, and it all starts with a job posting, and many
Yep.
small businesses don't necessarily know how to craft a winning talent job posting, as simple as it sounds, right? We go in and we try to think about it. But at the end of the day, job posting is marketing copy.
Yep.
And so with AI, that allows us to be more, you know, be more efficient in how we think about crafting a job posting and using technology to ensure that we're speaking to a lot of the responsibilities of the job, a lot of the opportunities within the company. All these things are very important when you're thinking about crafting the all powerful job posting, because at the end of the day, as I said earlier, it's marketing. And so first step is really understanding the job posting, ensuring it's compelling. There's great copy. It's how you are attracting candidates to your business in many ways. And so with our product, you can do that, right? You can jumpstart with templates that are AI driven to ensure you're writing the right job posting. Once you build the job posting, then you have to really understand the responsibilities and the requirements of the job. And it's important that you spend your time connecting with the candidates that are qualified for the job. And as we said earlier about compliance and all the other
Yeah.
components that are really important in HR, you have to ensure that you're focused on the true requirements of the job. And when you're asked those questions in qualifying questions, that you're asking questions that again are true requirements of the job, So in our platform, you can get started, right? You can build your job, start with a template, customize it specifically for your business. And then from there, you can add screener questions. Once you add screener questions and also upload your brand asset. So if you think about, you think about your company page on Google or your company page on Meta or Instagram, you can upload your header image, ensure that your brand is front forward. Then you can select the requirements for the jobs. And in our process, we build a landing page for you with a chatbot that will actually attempt to qualify the job seeker when they apply for the job. And if the job seeker is qualified, you can sync your calendar, your Outlook or Gmail calendar directly in the platform so that if the person's qualified, instead of having the ping pong that happens with email, you can just schedule an interview right on the employer's calendar. So this is our idea of streamlining the process and thinking
Yeah.
about how we can be more effective at helping you manage your day, because we don't, again, hiring is that sigh. I have to hire
Yeah.
someone, and make it more of a streamlined process for you, and really think about it as your automated recruiting assistant.
I love it. I teach people exactly what you're saying, but I teach them how to do it on their own, because they don't have a system, or one didn't exist until this one now. So, I'm going to have to go check out ReadySetHire to say, wow, everything that I teach in my How to Recruit program, the first thing I say is, please don't post the ad yet.
Right.
Please back up and realize that this is a project. This is a full project. And in a project, you have to develop a plan, and you have to assign people to points of the plan. And the marketing part, I'm like, don't press that job posting yet, because it's probably not a great posting. And it probably has things like no phone calls. I'm like, no, don't put anything negative in your job post. Gee, I want to apply to that company. They're already yelling at me.
Exactly. Exactly.
But, when you and I were preparing for this podcast, you shared with me a statistic that only 11% of small to medium sized businesses are using generative AI tools. And while that blows my mind, because I'm in love with AI, ChatGPT is like my best friend, I also get it, because I was literally just teaching somebody who was asking me, hey, how do I ask for a raise? And I'm like, well, let's ask ChatGPT. And they're like, oh, I don't know how to use that. I'm like, oh no, what do you mean? Just talk to it.
Right. Right. It's funny. Today we're all driven by the all powerful keyword search.
Yep.
Right. And what we're seeing is now we're going to ask questions. And when we ask questions, we're going to get responses, and we're going to do our due diligence as well. And so it's funny. I was talking to a friend of mine the other day, and I said, you know what? Ask Jeeves had it right. If you think about it, years ago, Ask Jeeves was a big search engine, and the whole idea was ask Jeeves a question, right? And would give you a response. And so isn't it funny? Here we are with the way that, of course, generative AI has accelerated and it truly understands, the types of questions and answers, that we're looking for. Here we are again, right? It is more of a question and answer experience instead of keyword. And that's pretty exciting for us. I think we will see productivity accelerate because of that. And in our world, generative AI can help us write job postings, can help us give tips on how to interview, can help us create any assessments and questions for job seekers to help really understand if they are a fit for a specific role. All these things are very important, and these prompts are very important to help us be more effective at some of these processes. And so we've embraced AI in the ReadySetHire platform to help companies be more efficient, not from the perspective of decreasing the interaction with a candidate, because that's where we think generative AI can go awry, right? Is using generative AI to replace the interaction with a candidate and to replace decision-making processes with candidates and employers, but really as an assistant to help understand and remove redundant tasks in that process, even more effective than automation processes, right? And with different ways to kind of think about it. So how do we leverage generative AI, ChatGPT in our product to be more effective in our world and in our domain?
And I want to remind our listeners that while AI is amazing, it is also scary, and there could be risk. Even the Department of Labor has, AI guidance out specifically for candidates, because if your AI system is acting as a chatbot or a selection tool, and you decline a candidate who happens to have a disability because they couldn't interact with the AI system in the way the AI system was built, you're still responsible for that as an employer to say, hey, that was discrimination, even if it was unintentional. So what are your thoughts on that and how employers can, keep an eye on those things and not be scared of AI, just making sure we have that part covered over here?
Yeah, absolutely. I think the big thing is be the candidate, right? And think of it as an assistant tool to augment and make your systems more productive than they are today.
Yeah. So reminder for everyone who is listening, just do a quick internet search of AI EEO guide. And there's information for federal contractors as well. And then there's information, on the Department of Labor for making sure that you're using AI the right way and you're not using it to replace, as he said, a human recruiter or a human manager. We still need humans involved. AI is just there to help us get things off of our plate so that we can actually interview people and not spend, weeks and months looking through resumes. Because as you mentioned before in the beginning of this conversation, it's about being quick too. And that's the sad truth. If you're a small business or whatever size business you are, and you have an ad out and you have 50 candidates that have applied, and you're like, oh, I didn't realize I was going to get this many candidates. Now it's going to take me forever to go through it. When you finally get to the 3 candidates that you want, they may say, no, sorry, you took too long to respond to me. So with or without, your ReadySetHire system, what's some advice for you to give to small businesses or any manager that's overwhelmed with the amount of candidates? Is it because the job ad was too vague, or let me guess, the pay was so amazing?
That's that's absolutely a great way to think about it. Is, there are a lot of ways in which you can focus your energy on candidates. But I will say that, there are a lot of tools that can help you with that, right? To surface the candidates that are a fit. And as I mentioned earlier, qualifying questions are very important with that, not gauging and not trying to assess the fit, but just asking those questions in the process that are specific needs and requirements for the job that are important to be able to perform the role that you're hiring for. I think that's the first thing is ensure that you're using qualifying questions as a way to screen and be effective, but also within, of course, guidelines that are important, that you need to follow. So I think that's the first way to think about it, is you can actually use that information. The second thing is focus on quality over quantity. So many companies spend time thinking about where to post a job, and they're thinking about, I want hundreds, right? And as a society, we are a quantity-driven society
Yep.
more than a quality-driven society. So that's something we've got to work on as a society. But in any event, quantity doesn't always mean success. Quality means success. And the reason why that is because you're only hiring one. You don't need hundreds.
Right.
Right? And many times the top applicants are within the first 20. So that's the other thing to think about just in that process as well. So, I would say that it's not all about quantity. It's about quality. It's about finding the right candidates, the right opportunities, and don't underestimate sources or, places where you can source candidates that you haven't heard of before.
Right.
Because there are great pockets of candidates out there. The other thing that I would say to that is when you're thinking about speed and you're thinking about time to candidate, you're absolutely right. Candidate experience is so important right now in many ways. And if you think of sales, right? Imagine in sales, if you had a lead come in from your website or you had a customer that entered your store, and from that standpoint, you didn't help them fast enough, then they would go to your competitor. And that's exactly that sales-minded experience is exactly what's happening with candidates. Candidates are saying, I am interested in this job. I may want to work for you. And if we let that lead sit for days, weeks, there's a high chance that that great candidate has already found another job. So it's very important. Speed is everything in this business, and it's all about time to applicant, which will influence your time to hire.
Yeah, and that goes back to what I was saying before of having a project plan, right? Before you post that job ad, no matter where you post it, before you post that job ad, have a plan. Who is on this project? Who is going to be sifting through these resumes? Who's going to be calling the candidates or emailing them or texting them? Who's going to be doing the interview? Oh, by the way, that person's on vacation. Okay, then let's wait till that person comes back from vacation to even post the job ad, because we might interview somebody tomorrow if we get the most amazing candidate today. Don't delay. The other thing that I wanted to just remind our listeners of, in case they didn't understand what you were saying about the qualifying questions or the qualifying, information, is what he's referring to is, like, say you have a nurse and it has to be an RN and not an LPN, to make sure that you're putting, before they submit their application, where it says, do you have an RN license or are you about to get one? Right. So,
Absolutely. That's
and
right.
making sure that those qualifications that are in your essential responsibilities, your knowledge, skills, and abilities that you have in your job description, that they're realistic. Because sometimes they're like, oh, I would love to have this. And it's like, yeah, wouldn't we all? But you're not going to get that in this world right now. So let's get more realistic. And the final thing I did want to say about that for our listeners is, don't have that many qualifying questions. Like, somebody shouldn't have to
Great point.
answer a sermon or put in 14, Q&A. They're going to give up after the second or third one. So only do, I would say, 3 isn't my experience, unless they're absolutely, really, really, really sincerely things that they have to have, such as in-person work, or, ability to travel, outside the country, maybe having a passport or something like that. This has been awesome information. Thank you so much. Tell our listeners how they can get in touch with you.
Yeah, absolutely. Great. Thank you so much again for the invite. You can connect with us at ReadySetHire.com. You can also connect with me on LinkedIn. Happy to connect and share information in this world we're in of human resources and recruiting, a very powerful one for the economy. And, thank you so much again for the invite, and great to contribute here and hopefully provide you with some great advice.
Yeah, absolutely. Thanks for joining us, everybody. Take care.